Hello friends of Solar Body Alchemy, how are you doing? I hope everything is fine with you. And today is our third week with Libra, and as usual I am picking a theme for the week, and I thought one of the challenges of our Libra friends is sometimes they don't know how to make a decision or how to take a decision because they like to please, to appeal to both parties. And as we have said also with Kate in our meditation last Monday, actually last Tuesday, Libra are quite the pacemakers. So sometimes they struggle to take a side. So I'm wondering what the cards have to say in this regard. So the theme for this week is actually how we can make better decisions. Okay, so let's see what the cards have to tell us in this regard. As usual, I am using this tarot deck here, is the Rider White tarot deck, and without further ado, let's start and let's see what the cards have to tell us this week. So I'll start shuffling my deck for you guys, and let's see what the cards have to say for our friends of Aries. Okay? So Aries, let's see. So the first card is the King of Pentacles. How do we relate the King of Pentacles to our ability to make a decision or to take a decision? Well, the King of Pentacles is very, very sure in his position, okay? Since he is a king, he has kind of completed a circle, so he's the last card of the Pentacles. As I have said previously, Pentacles is a card that represents earth, stability, financial security, but also represents our body. So, dear friends of Aries, in your case, the best way to approach a new decision that you have to make is actually to really be present in your body, to start with, and also to be very confident in your authority and in your ability. Okay, usually Aries are experts, are masters in their craft. So if you really trust your instinct, it's whatever decision you are making, it's the right decision because it's coming from a place of authority, from a place of knowledge. Okay, moving on. Taurus, let's see what the cards have in store for you. Ooh, Taurus, interesting. The Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is one of the major arcana. So the major arcana are the cards that basically represent big events in our lives. Okay, for example, marriages, divorces, moving abroad. You know, those kind of big things that happen in life. So how do we link this particular card to your ability to make a decision, dear friends of Taurus? Well, the Wheel of Fortune actually represents destiny, in a way. Life is a wheel, life is never still. And Taurus sometimes has this tendency of being still. You are a earth sign, dear friends of Taurus, and I understand that because I am a Capricorn. So there is this element of earth that really is stable, doesn't want to move, doesn't like surprises too much. It's very loyal. That's one of our strengths. So the Wheel of Fortune actually represents in this way a little bit the opposite, because it represents the unpredictability of life, the adventurous side of life. So when it comes to make a decision, dear friends of Taurus, I know that you like your home, that you like your stability, that you like your routine, but try to keep in mind also the importance of going out there, of putting yourself out there, of finding a little bit of adventure, of considering things a little bit differently, to spin the wheel really of your life, to see what else, what new things might come to you. So sometimes if you have to make a decision between something that you know very well and something that you don't really know very well, consider that perhaps what you don't know might bring new and exciting things in your life. Okay? Moving on. Gemini. Let's see what the cards have in store for you, dear friends of Gemini. Just let me shuffle the deck for you. Ooh, Gemini, the Six of Pentacles. And how that's a very interesting card, because how do we relate this to this idea of making a decision, taking a decision? Well, the Six of Pentacles is a card that it can be read from two different perspectives. So on one side, we have the wealthy guy that is handing money. And on the other side, there are the beggars that are taking the money. Okay? So you can be either in one of these two positions. So you can be the wealthy one that is generously gifting people with either their money or their knowledge, or you can be the beggar who is actually a person who needs help in this particular moment of their life. Okay, so what's the message in this card in regards to making a decision, dear friends of Gemini? Well, first of all, it's your decision to either give help or accept help. And if there is a struggle between the two, so for example, if you are one of those people that is always ready to give help, but it accepts help rarely, try to think why you struggled so much in accepting help. Perhaps do you feel demeaned? Do you feel like in a position of weakness if you are accepting help? Okay, or if you are on the other side, you always have to help someone. Okay, you always feel responsible for someone. Again, try to consider, why do you feel so much responsibility? What's going on in your life? What actually your body tells you every time someone asks for your help? Why do you feel so compelled to help all the time? If you consider, if you reflect on those two particular aspects, actually that will guide you much more in how you make a decision, how you take a decision. Because if you take a decision this time, it won't come from merely a place of ego, but it will be much more rooted in your body. Okay, so consider that and let me know. Cancer, what about you? Let's see what the cards have in store. So briefly, let me just briefly shuffle my deck. Ooh, the Tower. Such an interesting card. If you have followed me in my previous readings, you know that the Tower Tarot has a very bad name within the tarot world, okay? Because it depicts this tower, two people are literally jumping out of the tower, and there is this huge lightning on the top that it's destroying this building, okay? So how do we link this to our ability to make a decision? Well, first of all, dear friends of Cancer, you are a very sensitive and emotional sign. So sometimes if you, for example, make a bad decision, okay, you have the tendency to make it a drama out of it, okay? And this card actually helps you to reflect that even if it's a bad decision, even if everything turns out very poorly, there is always something that you can learn out of that decision, okay? And sometimes, even if you apparently take a bad decision, and even if apparently your word crumbles, perhaps that was the right thing to do, because perhaps it didn't occur to you that what you were living in was a lie. It wasn't really the reality. Okay, so this card actually really helps you to consider the aftermath of taking a bad decision. And even if you have taken a bad decision, even if you have made a mistake, it's not now the time to beat yourself up for what you have made, but rather to deal with the consequences. Rather, instead of using your huge emotional resilience for beating yourself up, try to find a more constructive way to deal with the consequences. And actually, having made this decision can come from a place of emotional challenge. So perhaps you have made a bad decision because back then you were emotionally challenged. So for example, if you wanted to move in with a person, okay, and this guy or this girl turned out to be the very, very bad person for you, try to reflect. Why did you have this intense need of moving in with someone? Were you lacking affection? Were you looking for real love? So, those questions, and by answering to these questions, by really considering these questions, it will help you to get to the core and to ask yourself the right questions, if it makes sense. Okay? So let me know. Moving on. Leo. Let's see what the cards have in store for you, dear friends of Leo. Just shuffling the card. Oh, the beautiful Queen of Cups, dear friends of Leo. So, how do we link the Queen of Cups to making a decision? To improve our ability to make a decision? Well, the Queen of Cups is quite an emotional card. It's linked to the cup suit, and as I have said many times previously, cup is intrinsically linked to emotions. So when it comes to decisions, dear friends of Leo, do you keep your emotions into account? And by keep your emotions into account, I don't mean to say to take big decisions, especially big decisions, emotionally, but rather to let the emotions be in part of a decision. So, for example, if you have been asked to change your position in work, okay, but you are very, very close to the team you are working with at the moment, try to keep into mind that if you change position, you will lose that team, for example, because you will be working with new people, with other people, okay? And by considering this emotion, I'm not saying do not accept the new position or the new promotion or whatnot, but rather that it's very important for you to the people you work with. So it is something that you need to consider in your professional life or in your personal life. Okay, and by listening to this emotion, you will naturally be moved to take better decision. Okay, so that's the difference between taking a decision emotionally, i.e., oh, I'm not going to accept the position because I won't be working with the same people, to, okay, I am accepting the new position, I am conscious that I will be working with new people, but I'm also conscious that for me it's important to work with nice people. Okay, and this is just an example. So this card really suggests you to check in with your emotions and to let your emotions be part of your decisions. Okay, moving on. Virgo. Let's see what the cards have in store with you, for you, sorry. The Two of Cups. Interestingly, this is another cup card. So, as I said earlier on, cups, it really means emotions. But in this particular case, dear friends of Virgo, we have the number 2. The number 2 implies, in this particular case, a partnership. a relationship of some sort. And how do we link this to our ability to make decisions, and particularly to make better decisions for ourselves? Well, if it's a 2, probably it means in this particular case to try and to listen to the people that are around you, okay? So, for example, if you are one of those people that rarely shares their worries, okay, about something. So, again, perhaps they are in a conundrum and they don't really know how to behave. But instead of sharing these worries with someone, they brood over it on their own for days, for loads of time, until they reach a point, they make their decision, and finally they can share, with the other person, with their group of friends, with their better half, what was going on. But for days, they have kept separate from their friends, their family, simply because they didn't want to burden them with the worry of making a decision. But this card, dear friends of Virgo, actually suggests that you do the opposite. So if there is a big worry on your shoulder, you need some support, some moral support, okay? Of course, those people cannot make the decision for you. Ultimately, it will be you to make the decision. But you can unburden yourself. You can share your thought process, and they can help you to make better decisions because they can share their insights on the situation. Perhaps they have a fresh pair of eyes, have a fresh perspective. They consider different things that you haven't really considered, okay? So in this particular case, if you have a big decision to make, or in general, if you want to learn to make better decisions, have a chat with someone you trust. This card really suggests someone you trust, someone you can build a partnership with, okay, of any sort. So it can be a best friend, it can be your better half, it can be even your boss or your mentor, but someone that you can really trust and that can help you with your emotional baggage, okay? Now, birthday boys and birthday girls, dear friends of Libra, let's see what the cards have to tell you, okay? This is actually our last Libra reading, Libra inspired reading. So let's see. And it is the 5 of Swords. How do we make better decisions? Well, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you, dear friends of Libra, that we have picked a 5 and then we have picked Swords, okay? We have picked a 5 usually because 5 represents a battle, okay? And as we have said, and actually as Kate explained very well in one of our previous meditations, Libra is found where there is chaos because they bring peace into chaos, okay? And this card, a little bit like the 6 of Pentacles before, can be read from different perspectives because we have the guy who has won the challenge and the 2 guys that are on the background and are the losers, okay? So how do we link this card with your challenge, particularly your challenge of making a decision, a good decision? Well, first of all, you remember what we have been talking about for weeks now, dear friends of Libra. When you make a decision, you really need to learn to be into your body, into yourself, and to have very clear in mind, what do you want? Because sometimes you get lost in what the others want, and you forget what you really wanted in the first instance. So what do you want in this particular case? Do you want to win? Do you want something with all of your might? Or not? And if you feel the pull of always being in the loser side, okay, always conceding, always giving in, how do you feel about it? Okay, do you resent always being the one giving in or giving up on something just for the better cause, for the bigger cause, for the bigger picture? Okay, so this card, dear friends of Libra, to help you to make better decision, you really need to pay particular attention to your emotional state. If you want something, so if you really want to be the winner in a particular situation, or why do you always give in? And it's very subtle, okay? And sometimes it's also unconscious. But as we said very often, this particular work that we are doing here in Solar Body Alchemy and in general by working therapeutically with you guys is really helping you to pay attention to what's going on in your body, okay? Because that can help you to make better decisions in the future, okay? So pay attention to what you feel on either side you're in, and let me know, okay? Moving on, Scorpio. Scorpio, next week it will be the first reading, the first Scorpio inspired reading. So let's see now what the cards have to tell you in the last week of Libra. And it is the Judgment. Can you see? How do we link this card to our ability to make a decision? Well, the Judgment for me is a card that really means follow your call, okay? Wake up from the days you've been living in, wake up from the routine that you've been using, and really follow what you want to do, okay? So it is a card that really invites you to listen to your inner self, okay? And actually, that's the best piece of advice. When we want to make a decision, in any case, in any either big or small, if we have very clear what we want to achieve, that's the best decision that we can make anyway. So that's the real sense of this card, dear friends of Scorpio. Listen and listen more closely to what you want. And if the life you have been leading up until now doesn't satisfy you and you feel that something is off, don't rush and quit everything, but try to listen. What is the thing that doesn't really fit? Okay, that really makes you wonder, that makes you want more. And once you have it, that's the better you can do, the better decision you can make, because you have it clear what you really want. Okay, moving on, Sagittarius. So we are almost there, guys. Sagittarius, only 4 signs left. Oh, the wonderful High Priestess, guys. How do we make better decisions, dear friends of Sagittarius? We do it under the influence of the High Priestess. So you are a fire sign, full of passion, full of energy, always ready to go after the new adventure. And the High Priestess is all water. She is pure intuition. So what is the difference between really between you and this card? Well, it's clear as night and day, right? But it is in this very interesting relationship between going after something by listening to something very deep that a beautiful alchemy is created, okay? It's a little bit what we have been repeating, and it's interesting because all the cards that we have picked so far about making a better decision, all of them in some form of shape, in some way, invite us to reflect on what we really want, or really listening to our intuition. And this card is no different, dear friends of Sagittarius. The High Priestess really invites you to listen to your inner intuition. You have it. It's that inner voice that tells you what to do and what not to do, okay? And if you really listen to this part, and it's interesting that it's a feminine part, and historically, traditionally, intuition is a more of a feminine quality. That doesn't mean to the gentlemen friends that follow me, that are born under the Sagittarius, that you don't have any. Actually, quite the opposite. It's really in this capacity of embracing our intuition, of listening to our inner voice, that we can have a much more grounded version of ourselves, that will be much more grounded in our body, and we will be able to proceed further, because once we have make our decision, it will be much more grounded in our body. If we follow it, it's very counterintuitive. If we follow our intuition, we'll actually be much more grounded in our body. The more grounded we are in our body, the better our decisions will be. So just follow this. And if you don't do it, if you find it challenging, dear friends of Sagittarius, start with small, easy things, okay? Just see what your intuition tells you, okay? It's an art. It can be mastered, and you got to start somewhere, okay? Capricorn, here we are, the last 3 signs. Let's see what the cards have to tell us this week, dear friends of Capricorn. And it is the Eight of Wands. Now, what does this card mean, and how do we link this to improve our way of taking a decision, making a decision? Eight of Wands is a card that is all about speed, okay? Now, 8 in general as a card means mastery of some sort. So, for example, if you see the 8 of Pentacles, it's all about mastery over a craft. The 8 of Cups is actually mastery over the emotions, is leaving all the emotions behind. In this particular case, the 8 of Wands is mastery over energy. That means speed. Because if you have mastered your energy, you are actually able to almost use it like a razor sharp, okay? Your energy will be razor sharp towards an objective. And this card really invites you, dear friends of Capricorn. You are quite of the reflective kind, I know, because I am one. But sometimes you need to jump at the occasions, and you don't like this. You prefer to be very, very cautious in making your decision. But this card invites you not to be cautious, invites you to take a risk, to jump at the occasion, to rise at the occasion, and to make the most of it. So in this particular case, how can you improve your way of, again, taking a decision? Speed. Be quicker in making a decision, okay? That doesn't mean to throw all caution, to the wind, but quite the opposite. Try to be cautious, but at the same time, if you feel that something is really right, go ahead and do it without thinking too much, without overthinking things, okay? Moving on, Aquarius. Let's see what the cards have to tell for you. Look at this wonderful card, the Sun. Ah, this is a wonderful card. So what does this card mean, the Sun, and how do we link it to our to the question of the week? How can I make better decision? Well, actually, the Sun really makes me think that you are already making all the best decision, all the best decision that you can in this particular, in this particular moment of your life. Because the Sun really doesn't leave anything hidden. It shines over everything, and it makes everything there, makes everything clear, makes everything seen, okay? So this card really, dear friends of Aquarius, seems to suggest that when you make a decision, you need to know everything, okay? Everything under the sun, really. You need to know everything. And that's actually quite a wise way of making a decision, okay? However, keep in mind, dear friends of Aquarius, that sometimes, not everything is so clear, okay? Not everything is under the sun. Well, everything is under the sun, but not everything is visible, okay? So you need to find your own inner sun, your own inner guidance to make the right decision for you, okay? So since you have one of the most brilliant mind in the zodiac, because you are blessed with such a wonderful mind, this is what the card is saying. This card is saying, find your own sun and use it, okay? So even if you don't have all the elements that you'd like to have, trust yourself. Trust that you know enough. Trust that you can let yourself go, because at the end of the day, if we look at this card closely, there is this young child and he is riding on this magnificent horse under this glorious sun. So there is an element of risk, there is an element of trust. I trust the road, I trust the process. So this is part of the best way of making a decision. Yes, of course, you need to know everything you can, but if you don't know everything you can, or if you don't see everything, trust that you know enough. Trust that you are doing everything you can in this particular way, in this particular moment, to do the best decision that you can take. Okay? And finally, last but not least, Pisces. So let's see, dear friends of Pisces, what the cards have to tell to you. The Hanged Man. Interesting, because the Hanged Man apparently is the guy that cannot really make any decision, because he's hanged, he's bound, he cannot walk, he cannot go anywhere. However, he has a decision to make. How can he deal with the situation? Does he feel bound, or can he use the situation to his own, advantage, and to try to find enlightenment? That's exactly what this guy is doing. So if we look closely at this card, we see that this guy here has an halo around his head. And the halo means that he really has found wisdom. How? Well, he is learning to look at the world from a completely different perspective. He cannot go anywhere. He cannot even see the world the way we see the world, because he is upside down. So he had to learn a new perspective. That's the advice, the piece of advice that this card is giving you, dear friends of Pisces, how to make better decisions. So if in this particular way, in this particular time of your life, you feel stuck, and many of us do, because there is a pandemic still with us, it's not over yet. How can we deal with it? How can you make decisions? Some of you might think, but I cannot do anything. What can I do? Why are we even talking about making a decision if I cannot even go to work? It's your decision of how to deal with it. And that's, dear friends, it's the lesson of this card. It's the message of this card. It's to remind us, true, we might not do what we were doing before, but perhaps we can learn other things, we can learn new things. And that's what I invite you guys to do this week, okay? So, everyone, this is the last reading for the Libra season. Next week, be ready, because we will be starting with Scorpio and the first Scorpio reading. I hope you enjoyed my reading today. As usual, if you have questions, if you have doubts, if you have suggestions, please let us know. and I will see you again very soon with Kate for our weekly meditation slash body reading. So I will see you again very soon. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye for now.